Welcome to the Turning Lemons into Lemonade podcast. Each week, your host, Amy Mewborn, business strategist and advisor, will bring you the stories of how successful women entrepreneurs turn their tragedies into triumphs to create the businesses that are changing the world today. And now, your host, Amy Mewborn.
Welcome to episode 5 of Turning Lemons into Lemonade. Today, I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me very recently, and it really kind of threw me for a loop. First of all, you're in my office, and I sit in here and I have a MacBook. I have a MacBook and I have an iMac sitting here on my desk. And I would say it was probably about a month and a half ago, and I'd had this podcast idea for about 2 years and really committed to it right around the beginning of February. And I was starting to record my episodes and find people to help me with the production and all that good stuff. And I would say that about a month and a half ago, I had spent 2 weeks recording 15 episodes for the podcast. And one thing about me is I like systems and I don't like to be surprised by things. So one of my goals for the podcast was that I didn't want to launch it until I had 26 episodes, a half a year in the can. So here I was, I had about 15 that I had recorded over 2 weeks. And I got up one morning, it was a Sunday morning, my husband left for work, and one of the things that I have in my morning routine is that I get up, I have my cup of coffee, I read a book for a little while. Once he leaves, I do a 20-minute meditation. And the meditation has really kind of helped with my dealing with stress and how I show up in my life and my business. So after my meditation, I got up and I decided I was going to clean house. And I started in the bathroom, our master bathroom. I made my way through our master bedroom, made my way through our loft, and came here into my office. And by then, I probably was, probably about an hour and a half into my cleaning. I was feeling really good. I was so proud of myself. And my computer, my MacBook was sitting here on my desk. And I had a glass of water sitting up here, and I picked it up and I went like this and I brushed it kind of across the room, and it was full. And because it was full, it dropped probably about 10 to 15 drops of water straight down into my MacBook. Now, this computer is just over a year old. I have been recording all of these podcast episodes on Zoom, so that way you can see us and hear us. And I was immediately like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. So I got on my iMac and I started Googling, what do you do when you spill water on your computer? So the first thing they say to do is turn off the computer. The second thing is turn it upside down, try to get any water out from underneath it, and then set it in a place where hopefully it can dry out and fan. So I did that probably within a couple of minutes. And then you're supposed to let it sit and wait for like 72 hours, 3 days before you're supposed to turn on this computer. And my husband, who was an electronics technician in the military, immediately asked me, did you turn it off right away? Because if you don't turn it off right away, apparently it goes and fries the components. So I had turned it off as quickly as possible. But when I turned the computer back on 3 days later, nothing worked. So I called Apple, I got online, and I tried to do all of the fixes, and nothing worked. So I booked an appointment with the Genius Bar. What do you do next? You take your computer into Apple and you say, help. So the Genius Bar comes out and they're like, so we have some bad news. You have some issues with your computer. There's not a lot of water that got into the computer. It's obvious there wasn't a lot of water damage, but the water damage that there is, your water is hard and it mineralized straight onto your hard drive. So you're probably going to need a new hard drive and you're probably going to need to wipe all the data. Now, I just told you that I had recorded 15 episodes of the podcast. What I didn't tell you is that I save everything in Dropbox. So everything that I do, I take it and I drop it into Dropbox. And I have a very specific filing system that I'm willing to share with you. If you go to this lemonadepodcast.com/005, then the freebie here is you'll actually get my checklist for how I save and archive documents so I can retrieve them quickly and easily. But what I had done is, because I was recording these via Zoom, I was recording them on the computer, not to the cloud, because when you're working on Wi-Fi and there's multiple people involved, I've often found that there's some lag time in the video. So as all of these episodes were saving, they were saving into my documents on my hard drive. And because I wasn't doing anything yet to edit these or to do anything, they were just accumulating on my hard drive. So as they're telling me that my hard drive is probably gone, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I've just taken 15 hours of recordings. I've used 15 hours of some of my business friends and relationships to go and record this podcast, and now they're gone. So, long story short, the computer sat at an Apple provider, not the Apple Store anymore, because they said there was nothing they could do to help. So I found a computer doctor that was able to get the computer up and running, but they couldn't get any of the episodes back. And it was tremendously frustrating and tremendously stressful. And I mean, I would say that I was probably on the phone with Apple 2 or 3 times a day for 4 or 5 days while they had my computer, trying to figure out if there was anything else we could do. Ultimately, again, they were able to wipe the computer. They were able to completely restore the computer, but they couldn't restore any of the episodes. So here we are. It's about a month and a half later, and we are hoping for a middle of May launch because, again, I want to make sure I have all my episodes in a can. So the turning lemons to lemonade out of this was I actually had to go back to all of these people and say, I'm so sorry. I'm so stupid. I did something awful. I lost our episode. I wasted your time. And it was a horrible, horrible thing to have to do. But everyone that I've spoken to has been so gracious. And what you're going to find is as you go through the podcast, as you get into episodes probably 12 and beyond, you're going to start to hear a lot of these re-recordings. And the really cool thing about these re-recordings is I know so much more about the women that we're interviewing. So these interviews take a completely different turn. So what I want you to get from this episode is, 1, we all make stupid mistakes. Things happen. It is what it is. How you deal with it is really how you show up in your business. As this was all going on, my husband said to me, "You're handling this exceptionally well. I'm pretty surprised. How is it that you're doing okay with this?" And I have to say that I was tremendously grateful that I had a meditation practice that was helping me kind of reduce stress in my day-to-day life. But no matter what happens, if you have something that goes wrong in your business, what you really have to do is identify, okay, what happened and what can I do about it now from where I am today? So for me, I had to start picking up the phone and I had to start emailing and reaching out to people that I loved and tell them that I had messed up. But the other thing is, look for the silver lining. Look for the lemonade, because there's probably something that you can do better next time, or there's systems that you can implement, or there are things that you can do to make sure things like that never happen again. I now religiously, when I stop recording here, everything processes through Zoom, and I immediately take all of those episodes and drop them into Dropbox. But the other thing is, I have now also gotten an external hard drive that I use in addition to Dropbox, because I met a couple people not too long ago who have been running a podcast for years, and they said, if you have one copy, you have 0 copies. If you have 2 copies, you have 1 copy. So I'm now kind of instituting that into my business and into my life. So I want to ask you, if something went wrong with your computer today, do you have backups? What would you lose if something happened and your data was gone? Do you have a way that it is retrievable? Often if you have something through a premium Dropbox or a premium Evernote, they actually can recover files that you've deleted normally for 30 days. So do you have systems in place to make sure that everything that you're working really hard for is protected? If you want to know more about my systems and how I go about doing that, again, go to lemonadepodcast.com/005, and you'll get the show notes here and you'll get all of our links. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that as you're going through all of our episodes, you're feeling like you're not alone, and what you experience sometimes in your day-to-day business is very normal, and it's what all of us are going through too. So I hope that this is helpful and inspirational to you, and I hope that you can learn from some of my not so great mistakes, and you'll make sure you don't make the same ones. Thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to Turning Lemons into Lemonade, where women go for support and encouragement to hear how other women business owners turn their setbacks into successes to create 6- and 7-figure businesses. We look forward to seeing you next week.